In this video, I'm going to show you a few things that you should look at when choosing your next office chair. Look, we have here 3 models. This one is a Herman Miller one. This one is a Kinaps Plus 8. And here I have a demo from Kinaps also, which has now been replaced by Claro, but basically they're the same. All these chairs are good office chairs. They used to be mine at some point. Let's remember the idea behind sitting. The idea behind sitting is to rest your pelvis against the lumbar support of the chair so that you don't want to slouch. Okay? From there, I'm going to teach you how to look for a chair for yourself, and then we can discuss about how to find a chair for a population which is more complex. Well, let's take things one by one. The first parameter of a chair is its handles. They should be easy to find, they should be intuitive, especially if you will not be coached in using the chair, or if your colleagues are not going to be coached in using the chair. The first control we look at is the height of the chair. Well, the height range is rarely a problem unless you're a rather small person, in which case it could be that the gas spring doesn't go low enough. Okay? Good brands have different sizes for gas springs, but this is rarely the biggest problem. Then I move to a real problem, which is the seat depth. You see, seat depth is this. Some chairs, not all, have a mechanism to slide it back and forth. When it's slid like this and it creates a gap, well, actually, you don't want that because you're never gonna sit here in the gap. Hence, you will always be at a distance from the backrest. So point number 1 is most of you should have the seat pan slid back completely so as to make sure that you can rest against the lumbar support. But now this part, which we call the seat pan, can be too deep. Yeah, it often happens in American chairs like Herman Miller, but also on German chairs and things. The Herman Miller chair has some kind of a button here that allows it to shorten the seat depth, but still for small people it will hit the back of your knee. Now be aware that this chair, the iron chair, is available in different sizes. I think that if I remember well, this is the B size. A is smaller, so smaller people will be able to be happy with that. Regarding the seat pan, the other dimension is, you see, the width, and most chairs tend now to be too wide. A wide chair will not matter if I have no armrests, you know. If I have no armrest, well, I could be sitting on something which is twice that wide, doesn't make a difference. It will make a difference if I have armrests. Like on the Kinaps Plus 8, you see that the armrest can be right under my elbows without any problem. On the Iron, I've never been able to use the armrest because, you see, they are wider than I am. So actually, you know, this chair is too wide, and well, it gets even wider if you put the armrest to the side. So problem number 1 with many chairs is they are too deep. Problem number 2 is that they are too wide. Problem number 2 is relevant only if you have armrests. Now let's go to the backrest. The backrest is a really tricky one. You see here we have 3 different models. We have a plastic backrest, we have a mesh backrest, and we have a full backrest. What's the difference between these? Well, the mesh backrest has been, say, invented based on the observation that people don't adjust the height of their backrest. So the idea of that is that it will change its shape so as to support your body weight, whatever be your morphology. Now, as it is something flexible, of course, it will support you less than something which is not flexible. It also poses the question of the durability. You know, elastic tends to not last for very long if used every day. Therefore, good chair manufacturers have added an extra lumbar support, which is a plastic bar. It can also be a foam bar. Make sure that it does not create pressure points. People who tend to sweat a lot or who work in warm environment, tropical countries and things, will appreciate the mesh backrest because it will kind of ventilate your back a bit better. Herman Miller has chosen also to have some kind of mesh, but it's plastic mesh, so it's rigid. It also has this adjustable lumbar support at the back, but you see, when I wear jeans, this really creates contact points behind my pelvis. So actually, among the three, this is I would say, the least comfortable mechanism. My chair for every day is this one, is the +8, and this one has a full foam backrest, but of course it needs to be adjustable in height. If you find a chair which is not with an height adjustable backrest, do not buy it. It is an essential function of a chair. Now, mesh or full backrest or foam backrest will be a bit up to you. Just make sure that it doesn't create pressure points. In particular, and I'll come back to that, don't buy a chair online, because sometimes there are tricks. Like, you know, I've recently come across a chair at a client company which was looking great on paper, but just this bar here, the lower bar of the frame, was higher up in the back, and actually you could feel the frame of the backrest when you were sitting deep in the chair, and that you will never see online. So you really need to sit on them to make sure that they are comfortable. So the main properties of the backrest is that it should be adjusted to belt level and therefore adjustable, and it should be comfortable because you're going to rest on it for many hours, so you don't want it to create pressure points. Okay? One last important point, armrests. Do you need them or not, and which type do you need? Well, basically when you type, you don't need armrests. Your arms rest on your latissimus dorsi, as I explained in another video. Now, your armrests are handy to, when you want to take a break. I mean, they are armrests. So basically, I recommend that they should be there, even if you don't use them when working. Now, what type of armrest should you take? You should think in terms of firmness and in terms of mobility. Firmness first. You don't want hard plastic for your armrest. They should be padded like this one, because it will protect the ulnar nerve that travels in your elbow. That's point number one. Now, in terms of mobility, all of them, or at least on a proper chair, are adjustable in height. The issue is that a number of them start too high, i.e. the minimum height is still too high, i.e. a lot of people will raise their shoulders even when the armrests are at the minimum. So be aware that the minimum height is really low. Now, the second way to move them is in width. They should be able to go as close as possible to the edges of the seat pan, especially as we discussed earlier, the seat pans tend to be wider and wider. To complete this, some of them can rotate, you see, inward, outward, and this will help further narrowing the armrest width. The last point is that armrests can sometimes slide back and forth. This is nice to have, but it's not necessary. So what you need is soft and padded armrests that go low enough for most people and that can be adjusted in width, especially if you have a wide seat pan. Now, the last important point regarding the type of material that you use for your chair is how slippery will it be. Imagine a leather seat. If you take a leather seat, I will go like this. Well, this is not supportive for the pelvis, especially not if you're a lady and you have, you know, some satin cloth or so, or some skirts and things. You will have a bigger tendency to slide in your chair, and therefore you'll be slouching all day long. This will kill your back. So make sure, I mean, honestly, I prefer fabric than leather or vinyl chairs. In some environments like pharma, you do need to have leather chairs for hygiene reasons so that they can be cleaned, and yeah, often that can be a problem with the clothing. It's true. You see that this chair is the only one of the three which has a headrest. A headrest is useless, or kind of useless. It's a very expensive option. It's like, often it can be like 10% of the price of the chair, and you see that when you rest, when you sit, you don't use the headrest. But why I love this one is that if I want to take a break and think, well, the headrest is here. So you see, you say you don't need it, but if you have the cash, why not consider the option? Now, just quickly on that was for the static considerations. Now let's go for the dynamic consideration. You have different type of chair mechanisms, and I'm not going to give you a chair engineering course here. Basically, bear in mind that some chairs have the backrest that moves only. Some of them have, like this one, the backrest and the seat pan that move in a synchronized fashion, and some of them have them move separately from each other. I prefer the middle mechanism, i.e. when it's synchronized. All three work according to this principle. What's important is that you manage to have the chair stable to hold your weight, whether the mechanism is locked or unlocked. On 90+% of the chairs I know, the resistance can be adjusted. Here it's under the seat band, here it's on the side, here it's also on the side. Whenever you see a rotating wheel, you can think that it's the spring adjustment mechanism, but your criteria is you want the chair to be stable when you sit. This one has a function that the two others don't have, which is, and most people don't know about this function actually, is you see here, it is rather tilted back. Here, it is a bit more forward. Why not? But your chair should not be really forward because it will make you glide. So you want the chair to, again, support your weight, whatever be your position. I like this for discussing, I'm a bit more relaxed, but this would be the case where a headrest would be useful. And to work, I always put it forward. And personally, I like to block the chair for having a strong support, and I get movement by standing up every 30 minutes or so. So these are the criteria to which you should pay attention when you purchase a chair for you. And as you have understood, well, all that is so multifactorial that you don't want to buy a chair online. Unless you renew your existing chair, which was satisfactory, of course. If you choose a chair for population, well, the basic principle is the same, but you need the chair to accommodate a wider range of morphologies. Therefore, it needs to have adjustment ranges which are bigger, meaning that a chair which is not adjustable is not per se a problem if it's for you. It can be not adjustable, and by chance it is adjusted, but it's by chance. If you don't want to count on chance, you need it to be adjustable, and the bigger the adjustment range, the more likely the chair is to fit the whole office population. I've seen many companies who buy chairs and are very disappointed that people hate their new chairs. Well, it's not a rare phenomenon, but what I see is that it's often linked to the fact that people were, say, shown the new chair, but were not trained in how to use it. So it's like you arrive on Tuesday morning, suddenly you have a new chair, it was communicated so, and you loved your old chair. In most cases, if the chair was chosen well, providing a 1-hour training plus individual workplace assessment managed to resolve the issue. So do not buy a chair for your colleagues without providing training. On my website you'll find the specification and some article which covers what we've discussed here. I will put the link in the comments of the video. Feel free to contact me if you are a company and if you need advice in choosing your next office chair.